everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And it's Sunday today and I put up my Christmas tree this morning. I don't know when you guys put up your tree, if you put up a tree at all. I kind of was a little ambivalent to the whole thing. Maybe I'm still on vacation mode, but anyway, my Christmas tree is up. It looks very pretty, and that's one more thing done towards the holiday season. So maybe you put, maybe you have a real tree and it goes up closer to Christmas, but ours is an artificial tree. Hello, Melinda. Is that correct? Is that you're correct? I got it right? I'm trying to read from the short version of your username. All right, everybody, I am here with a project. I have not used the Friendly Foliage stamp set, the bundle, as well as the Lasting Linen. These are two new products from the online exclusives that got released from Stampin' Up! In November, beginning of November. And it's the first time I've played with this, but I've seen some absolutely gorgeous cards. So I'm going to make a really easy fun fold. Yeah, it's a fun fold. I won't call it a fancy fold because it's really pretty easy to do. But I thought it would look really pretty with this card. And I got the idea from one of my team members. We did a swap on my team, and Catherine sent a lovely card, a holiday card to me. The theme was Christmas with a little bit of green. And so I got a lovely card from Catherine, and so she's the one that inspired me to make this card. I've made them before, but she kind of reminded me how pretty these cards are. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. And I'm just going to do one thing before. There we go. All right, so this is the Friendly Foliage bundle, new packaging. So this is the stamp set. Some great sentiments for this one. Just thinking of you, get well soon, sending. So it's kind of that, you're on my mind, thinking of you kind of sentiments. And then the dies are very cool. And I'm going to use two in particular today. So these two dies will cut out this image. So if you just use that, you'll get a solid image. But if you use the two together, you get holes, spaces in gaps in between. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so that's the main bundle that we're using, Friendly Foliage. And then this is a background stamp called Lasting Linen. So I'm going to use that on part of my card. It's a big background stamp, and I'll give you some tricks or hints if you don't have a block big enough. All right, so here's my supplies. So you need a piece of, somebody was telling me they couldn't see very well, so we'll scratch out. So you need a long piece. So I've cut my piece. This is Lost Lagoon. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to score it at 5 1/2. And then you need a second piece that is 3 inches by 11, and we're going to score that one at 5 1/2 as well. So 2 parts to this card. So that's why I said it's a bit of a fancy fold, but it's an easy one. So this is scored in half, so we're going to fold into the mountain or the raised line and give it a really good burnish with our bone folder. Now, I just realized you don't actually need a full sheet of this. You could just use a half a sheet. So we're going to do that if you wanted to. So I'm going to just cut this in half. So this piece only really needs to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. If you have a full card base, you can just put an extra piece in the middle and write a really long note. And then this will be our main part of our card base. So again, score this one this was at 5 1/2 and fold into the mountain or the raised line. Okay, so our card is going to look, ours is going to look like this when we get it together, and then this is going to open up like that. And so I've got a piece of Lost Lagoon. Now I left this, and I'm going to trim it a little bit, but I cut this at 1.5 by 5.25, and it's going to be for these 2 strips down here. So we're going to really making a very monochromatic card today. But I'm going to stamp it using, this is the lasting linen. Now, if you don't have one of the F blocks that this will fit onto, pull it off of that. It's still on my plastic that came in the, so if you don't have one of these, a couple of things that you can do. You could take and just leave your stamp in the packaging. I've got the clear, this is one of the thin, I've stamped this with the stamp, and then I've adhered the very thin plastic to it, and then when I package this up again, that stamp will go there, and that covers it. So that's kind of the new packaging. You've probably seen others sharing that. So you could leave your stamp on here and stamp. You could also put your stamp on a silicone mat, or if you have some of the stamp cases, I have also put my put the stamp in there and done it that way. So there's a few things you can do, or if you've got a glass mat, you can just put this onto the glass mat and stamp. Now I always stamp these big blocks or these big images from the top. I have a hard time hanging on to a block this big. So I usually ink it up from the top, and then I take, and I'm just going to take this piece, and now I've got a scrap, one of my old pieces of grid paper, just put on top of it and rub so we get the full image, and then hopefully that comes off. There we go. And then you can just clean your block. So you get this really lovely linen-y effect, just a very subtle background. Now this is too big. I actually need these to be 1/2 inch strips, but I intentionally cut it a little bit bigger than I wanted it. And so I'm going to cut 2 1/2 inch, well actually 3 1/2 inch strips, because we're going to use one on the inside of the card. So if you cut your piece 1.5 by 5.25, you'll be able to cut three pieces for your card. Okay, so we've got that done. Okay, and then the last thing actually I want to do is I'm going to stamp that on the front of my card as well. This time I'm going to ink it up from the top. But we're going to take and we're going to put our full, this will be the front of the card. So I'm just going to take and rub this. Now I'm going to try and lift it off. Oops, I got it on the back too, but that's going to be hidden. All right, so there's the front of our card as well. So this now is going to go on, and each of these pieces are going to go on, so we can take and glue. Just making sure I'm not missing comments. Facebook always seems to not be in sync with comments appearing. I always seem to have missed comments. All right, so we're going to take, actually we're going to do this first. So we're going to do here this piece, and it's going to go on aligned with the top of our card and roughly equal, hopefully equal, side to side and straight like that. And then each of these pieces is going to go on. Now that doesn't seem to be very straight, so the good thing about liquid glue is you have a little bit of wiggle room. And hopefully, there we go, that looks a little bit straighter. And now each of these pieces will go on the edges. And there is just a little bit of a gap, so it's not not right up to the edge. You have about a 1/16 of an inch of gap on each side. Like that. Like I said, very monochromatic card. There we go. Okay, we'll get some white on here to help break up all of that. Now I took a piece of basic white, and these are the adhesive foam sheets that come in packages like this. So they are, you get 6 pieces in there, oh gosh, 4 9/16 by 5 3/8 in Imperial. So I cut this one to be 4 inches wide, and now we're going to take and we're going to stamp, and we probably would have been better had we probably stamped it first and then put the adhesive foam sheet on the back, but I think I have enough room here to just take and just stamp that. There we go. I was worried it was gonna, isn't that a pretty image? Just love that image. And while we have our ink pad open, oh, I have extra scrap. We're gonna stamp the thinking of you on this piece of basic white that is 1/2 inch wide, and I think it should be, yep, wide enough for it. Got there fairly straight. Okay. All right, so we'll use that for the sentiment. Now, you need these 2 dies. So if you use this one, you will get this lovely image with no, like it'll be a solid image. And so you can just fit this around and match up the actually let's put this one on first. So this one is going to cut out the spaces, so we're going to line that up so that we've got our leaves, and take a piece of Post-it note and put that on, and then now you can take and line up this outer die. So you can do this all at once with the leaves. Put that on like that. And bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And we will run this through. Let's turn it so I can actually do that. Hey Sharon. Yay, you made it. Busy time. It's getting to be that time of the year. I know my niece, I was chatting, and she had her Christmas party last night, so it's getting to be that time of the year when it's getting to be busy. All right, so we take this, so take this solid piece or this solid die off, and then we take this one off, and now we can peel. And if you use take your pick tool, you can poke out all of these sections that we cut using that die that went in the middle. It's very cool. I love this. So it gives you the flexibility to be able to either do a solid image or do this image that has the holes in it. I got sticky bits. There's a tiny little one there. I am a sucker for any image that has leaves and sprigs and things like that on it. I don't know about you, but yeah. I don't know, I'm not much of a gardener, so maybe I create my garden by stamping. Have I got all of, no, I haven't got all the bits. All right, isn't that fun? And the fact that I mean, because I put the adhesive foam on the back of it, it's going to pop up, and you're going to be able to see through it. So, and you can just peel off the entire backing, And we're just going to take that and put right in the middle. And now we can take our sentiment that we stamped. I'm going to restamp that sentiment. Part of it was kind of hanging off the edge. Just fits. That's better. You could cut fishtail ends if you want to. So I think I'm going to just take and put that along there, like that. And probably it needs a dimensional to hold up this one edge. Like that. There we go. Oops. There. Now, I will notice the thickness of the dimensional, the adhesive foam sheets is a little bit thicker than the dimensionals. So it's kind of drooping there, but that's okay. All right, then yesterday, if you watched, I used these earthy matte dots, which are part of the, I think it's called Hobby Heaven or Hobby Haven. And I couldn't figure out what color these dots were. I thought maybe Misty Moonlight, but that didn't feel right. But they actually are Lost Lagoon. So we're going to use them on here. And this is going to be, like I said, very monochromatic. Okay, so now I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that is 2.5 by 5 1/4. It needs to be actually a little bit wider than that, but I'm going to go with it. And somewhere, remember I said you had 3 pieces of the stamped with the lasting linen. Well, I've managed to lose one of the pieces. Of course I did. What the heck? Let's see. Yeah, it's gone. Where the heck did it go? Could have gone on the floor. Oh well. Okay. You watch, I'll find it as soon as I've finished, because that's the way it works. Looking, it's not on the insides of things. Yeah, it's really gone. Okay, that's okay, because I had pulled out a stamp. I had pulled out these, oopsie, that's hard to see, these little stamps, and so let's just stamp that in Lost Lagoon. Pull that off. So just, if it looks like it's a little bit crooked, because being photopolymer, they do kind of bend, we're just going to take and ink this up with Lost Lagoon, and then I'm just going to stamp that right across the bottom. You watch, as soon as I'm finished, I will find that piece of Lost Lagoon that I cut, but that's okay. All right. So this piece I cut to, I think I said 2.5. It probably should have been cut to 2 3/4, but that's okay. This one goes in the center. Yeah, I cut it to 2.5, so a little bit narrower than it should have been. But there you go. That's a really easy fun fold. It will stand up lovely like that, and there's room for you to write a note. Again, that's using the Friendly Foliage stamp set and dies that were an online exclusive that were released November, I think. I'm not sure if it was November 1st, but the very first part of November from Stampin' Up! All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today. Now I'll be back live at 3 o'clock Pacific on Tuesday with a sketch challenge. If you do get my newsletter, you will get a sneak peek of the sketch earlier that day, because I send a newsletter out. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you can hop over to stampingwithmelva.com, and a subscribe form will come up when you go to my blog, and you will get my newsletter that I send out each week with lots of information in it. What's going on in stamping, the stamping world, a free tutorial for you, and of course on Tuesdays you will get the the sketch that I use on Tuesday nights. All right, don't forget, if you're coming through YouTube and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, click that red subscribe button below and you'll get notified when I go live.